Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this interactive session at IIIT Hyderabad and Talentsprint. It's good to see all of you guys in the morning, digitally, of course. So welcome once again. We are here with Professor C.V. Jawahar to my right. I'm Shantanu Paul, CEO of Talentsprint. Professor Jawahar is the Amazon Chair Professor of Machine Learning and Computer Science at IIIT Hyderabad. He's also the Dean of the program that we're going to discuss today, which is the most happening AI and machine learning program for executives and working professionals in the country. So welcome once again. So welcome, Professor Jawahar, as well. Good morning.
Thank you. Welcome.
So I think let's do the following. I think for the next 1 hour, we're going to have a chance to interact with all these people who are logging in from their homes and offices. And I believe the audience is really curious to know about the program itself. And I think we now have the advantage of one completed batch. You know, the first batch has just completed with flying colors, I think we should say. And therefore, we can use some of those experiences and stories of the first batch to maybe make a set of points that hopefully will help clarify the purpose and reasons as to how this particular audience today can consider joining this program as well. Yeah, so let's do that. So let's start off with maybe just a few quick observations. I think one of the things that really struck me in the last couple of days, and this is news that is hot off the press, is that the customer feedback or the participant feedback in the first batch far exceeds anything that we have seen in most programs, because we have a Net Promoter Score or NPS of 70, and we know that any NPS score above 50 is usually considered in any industry to be extremely high feedback. So at 70, we have probably reached a rating of excellent, which means that 70% of the people are giving it an excellent rating, and the remaining 30% would be in the very good range, right? So as I was dissecting the feedback, I was thinking that, one of the things that seems to have really struck a chord and has really helped the program's, participants having such a great feeling about the program is the format. I think there's a lot of talk in the last 5 years about digital learning only, that can you learn from home, online. There are any number of players we know, the MOOCs,
yeah.
The MOOCs, right? So with the MOOCs being the case, this program is essentially an anti-MOOC program. It kind of almost says that you need to have a certain amount of physical contact.
Yes.
So we call it hybrid. We don't call it classroom, we call it hybrid.
Yes.
So there, behind that hybrid word lies a very interesting design principle for which you are responsible. So maybe you can help the audience start by saying your philosophy on the program design.
See, I think when we want to do a large-scale training of professionals in the space of machine learning and AI, the obvious choice is MOOC. So I asked the question that, okay, look, how do we do with MOOC? The difficulty with the MOOC is the public now, it's public now, the failures of MOOC, why MOOCs fail, why the success rates of MOOCs. So my experience is that the teaching is effective when there is a personal touch. When there is a personal touch, when there is a classroom touch, and when the participants get help as and when they need. So from this viewpoint, we started looking at how do we effectively use the classroom learning or the contact-based learning and also digital content. This is what finally led to a design which has contact hours, extensive discussions, technical doubt clearings, and personal attention. And at the same time, lots of hands-on experience which people do with the help of, in front of mentors. So they get personal attention when they do labs. When they struggle, they realize that, okay, look, what is required. And see, every individual has their own way of learning, their own pace of learning, and their own way of looking at it. Particularly from this program, I was really shocked or surprised to see the many different ways of looking at the same concept. So people come back with different questions which are possibly unexpected. And the personal touch here possibly helped a lot. This is possibly one of our primary design choices in high personal touch, and also like a hybrid model where we use the classroom lectures, digital mentored labs, and online content.
Yeah. So it's really not a classroom,
no.
not MOOC. It's a hybrid model that takes the best of the classroom world, the contact world, and the digital world.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
so there have been a lot of discussions at some stage in the academic circles about with the emergence of this big MOOC wave and the big Coursera's, Like, are the universities going to be redundant?
Yeah.
Faculty going to be jobless? There was a threat for a couple of years.
That's gone, I think.
That is gone. That's clearly now that the
Over.
MOOCs are not going to replace the typical university education is now a clear fact.
And I think, but on the other hand, the MOOC has made the universities more responsive to online options.
Yes.
By making the hybrid model become more real. I think so many more people have come to the hybrid world now for the same reason that you mentioned.
Starting from the value of archival.
Yeah.
So we have possibly lost the content of, or the skills of great teachers.
Great teachers, yeah.
So there are MOOCs will add a lot of value.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think this, so spending a few more minutes on the program design, because that is so fundamental to people's choices. You know, somebody told me, one of the participants told me that, you know, that you can't learn to swim by taking a MOOC course.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's a very interesting point, that, you know, to learn swimming, you may have great swimming videos you can watch, instructions, but you ultimately end up in the pool with a physical instructor who's supervising your strokes and making sure you're doing the right things. So it is not
you drink water.
You drink some water. You drink some water.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. So therefore, in that sense, I think the hybrid program seems to have really hit the sweet spot with this particular audience.
Yes.
The other thing that I think also has really helped the hackathons, the ideas like hackathons, the ideas like industry action workshops by top industry professionals from Amazon, Google, all the usual companies who have large, you know, highly sophisticated AI practices. So what was the reason to add these kinds of things, hackathons? I mean, over and beyond, you talked about the lectures and the labs, which you made the points. But what was the reason to have these as well? See,
first of all, I'm an academician. So we know how to teach.
Yeah.
We know how to address the fundamentals. We know how to address how to convert these fundamentals up to practice.
Right.
But we are not practitioners, customer-facing practitioners.
Yes, yes.
So we also, this is something very important for a professional course. They had queries and they would like to interact with professionals working in this space or experts in this space. And this is what we thought we would like to have action workshops or industry seminars as part of it. Similarly, hackathon also introduces a new component into the learning process. There is a lot of hands-on component, laboratories where you have experiments, group labs, as well as like a case studies.
Yeah.
But hackathon is well beyond that. There is a good teamwork, there is an unstructuredness, and there is that spirit that comes. Like
pure learning.
Pure learning.
Pure learning,
yes. And that is possibly the hackathon's additional value.
Yeah.
And so we thought that, okay, we want to introduce that component, and that is how we brought in this hackathon-style components.
I'm sure you learned something about how some of these things might even apply to your traditional academia.
Sure.
Take it back to your
Sure.
BTech and Masters and PhD courses also.
Sure. My own colleagues ask me, like, why are we not teaching our students with the same content?
Methodology.
So I think the main difference, if you ask me, like from a regular academic course to a course like this, the difference is in the emphasis on the mathematical fundamental rigor versus the conceptual and applied nature. So this course has a little bit more of conceptual and applied nature, while in a classroom course, the same course will have a little bit more of mathematical rigor with...
like in a bachelor's or BTech program or something, academic programs.
Yeah, academic programs.
Yeah. Fabulous. So now that we talked about the idea of peer learning, I think the second thing that I noticed in the feedback from the current set of participants that people loved was the quality of the peers. So just by way of statistics, I should say that the first 400 people who have graduated, there is probably 25% of those population are CXOs, that they occupy positions like directors, VPs and above, which I think was really surprising to us.
Quite senior set of people.
Yeah. So that was one category of people, maybe one quartile was that, right? The other quartile that I found was about 25% were people from startups. People who had quit corporate jobs and gone off to do startups or thinking of doing so in the startup world, which kind of in a sense makes sense because AIML is such a hot startup domain right now. The third quartile, which was interesting, was managers, project managers, and people like that, right? So the whole management cadre of the middle management, I would say, program managers, project managers, senior project managers, lots of them were there in that category as well. And the fourth quartile, which I thought was kind of expected, are the technical leads, architects. So the technical track, the management track, the CXO track, and the startup track all almost got equal representation, right? Now, in your experience, when you watch this group, 400 people that you interacted with for the last 4 months, what was your takeaway? Did you learn anything new? Did you find anything different or strange or interesting?
A lot.
A lot, okay.
when I started the program, my naive understanding of this world was like, so these are all industry professionals, they are all programmers, or like working professionals with a few years of experience. They would like to use these concepts in their job. So this is where I started. And very soon I started realizing, seeing people who are quite senior, so ask questions at different space in terms of design, in terms of how do I manage a group of people doing AIML type projects. So I think that was a very interesting mix. So it's a good experience from my side.
Yeah. No, the quality of participants, I think, is a big thing.
So,
I think
the diversity, I think diversity added a lot of value.
Yeah. I think from 3 years experience to 25 years experience,
Yes,
we had
I think
everything in between.
Yeah.
The median was, I think, 10 years experience or 8 years experience.
Yes,
yeah. So
something like that.
But I think the range was very, very wide.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk for a minute about the content of the program itself. Why don't you maybe, for the benefit of the audience, tell us the various modules of the program and what are the specific segments, topics that you're covering in this program?
Okay, so generally this is a course which is centered around modern machine learning or modern AI, and which is presently dominated by supervised machine learning algorithms, including deep learning. But I want to emphasize a slightly different aspect as a course. So this course, while designing, one of the basic principles that we used in design is practice theory, practice model. So this has been a very common design choice that IIIT Hyderabad has been using at different stages. And this is what we also used here. So what does it mean is that the course starts with practice, then we go to theory at later stage, then we come back to practice. Again. So the first stage of practice is important because this is where you realize that, okay, look, what I learn can be used in my day-to-day life. I see how my simple intuitive algorithms that I can understand first day can be used for solving real-world problems. Then once I get a grip of this practice space, then we go back to the theory, understand the algorithms. Then when we come back with the second practice, we actually get very interesting insight. Yeah. People ask the question that, okay, look, why this design choice? Why this sort of an algorithm? So if I want to use this algorithm in my company, what should I do? So this is, so if you want me to contrast with traditional learning usually we start with concepts rich. Like we start with basics, go advanced, and on the last day we tell you how to practice. So the Professor Sangal used to take this example in computer science education. A student goes to the faculty member and says that, look, I want to build a rocket or I want to build a robot. Oh, you do it. How will you do? So you should do, before that you should have no basics, you should know mechanics, you should know this, you should know this. Oh, when will I do? You do this in 4th semester, you do this in 6th semester, you do in 8th semester. Then you go and do the rocket in Stanford. So we want the rocket to happen when they are in India itself. So now how do you make this happen? One way is that, okay, look, teach the rocket building as a skill set. So you know how to build a rocket.
There's always a functioning rocket.
Yes, and this leaves a lot of curious questions. Like, why this way? Why this way? Why not this way? I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know the answer to these questions. This curiosity makes the second layer of, when you come back to the algorithms, they start seeing the answers to the question.
The questions are much sharper.
Yes.
And connections.
They see connection. Then when we go to the third layer of practice, that is where I realize that, okay, now I would like to go to the larger systems, larger applications, where I can go beyond what I have seen. See, there is no fun in learning only how to design a recommendation systems or a spam filter. These are becoming more and more textbook exercises. Yes. If I want to use this concept in design or contributing to a product or a new project,
how do I apply?
Or a new startup or a new endeavor. So you want to think innovatively, and which requires solid foundations. and you give some space for people to do that in the course.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that okay, we have a lot of space for people to build their own project during this course, but at least this gives them enough time to think. So towards the end of this last batch itself, I started seeing people asking questions that, okay, look, I'm applying this in my company. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
So to be honest, sometimes I may not know the domain.
Yeah.
So very often people come with a lot of domain-rich facts, which I need to decipher and understand.
What's important.
Yeah, what is important, and pick in my own limited knowledge the domain, and then try to give advices. So the satisfying thing was people were able to use it, and hopefully they will take it forward.
So if I were to summarize what you just said, I think it's a fantastic pedagogical technique is different, right?
Yes.
I call this learning by doing rather than learning by listening.
Yes.
And learning by doing means you have to use your brain and hands in a very active manner, right? It's active learning versus passive learning.
Yes.
Because in the
By the way, active learning has a different machine learning connotation.
Not that active. Active learning in the sense that you are actually being a proactive participant in the learning.
Yeah.
Because you have to build things, create things from upfront, etc. So let's start. Meanwhile, I request the audience to start posting questions for Professor Jawahar. I'm sure we'll be happy to take a lot of questions towards the second half of this session. While the questions come in, I'll continue with a few more observations that we have. The other thing that has helped, besides the format and the peer group, etc., that seems to have really, people have loved in the first batch, is that the quality of the faculty. Now, I know that you are heading this program and you have a team of people as well, and I'm sure you're not going to talk about your, how great you are, but let's for a minute assume that if you can talk about why is the response to the faculty quality so high? I mean, have you used some technique of teaching apart from the ones you mentioned? Are there special, is there a secret sauce that the faculty is seen as so high quality? What is the secret here?
So if you want me, the simplest answer is there's nothing secret. There's nothing confidential about this here. So see, the difference, I think, if you ask me, is that, okay, we are all teachers, professors, but we identify ourselves more as researchers.
Yeah.
So tell me, as a researcher, I possibly like that more than a teacher.
Okay.
Oh, indeed, I am passionate about teaching, but we are basically researchers in university setting. We also do teaching. So what it means is that, okay, look, very often our examples are from the research. We use our experience from the research in teaching than following a textbook. It has good and bad. I'll tell you the bad. Bad is that participant will typically come and ask, tell me which textbook I should follow. This is what our university system had typically taught us. There's a textbook. You start from chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
All the way down.
Yeah, all the way down. And a course like this cannot be done like that.
You have to go back and forth.
Yes, you have to know what is really important, what is the essence, how different concepts get connected, what are the dependency of concepts, and how you should connect them and weave build a story through them.
Yeah.
So I think this is what has really helped. So for example, like my colleague Manish, who helped a lot with the chatbot hackathon. So for him, this is a regular thing. He says, like, he's not worried about it. Like, oh, chatbot, that's a very easy thing.
Yeah.
So this is this confidence in terms of like the people who are practicing the cutting edge research or technology development, contributing to the teaching, is possibly one of the key ingredients here.
So practitioner elements are very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah.
So practitioner with maybe a little bit more of research type practitioner.
Research practitioners, yeah. And who are the other faculty that you would like to call out in terms of their contribution?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So my colleagues, like Anup has been actively involved, Manish has been actively involved, Vineet, Girish, Vikram. There are enough faculty members who are possibly contributing in different forms.
Right.
And in addition, we have like faculty members from Ashokan and Jayant from here, who has had a lot of hands-on experience in this space, has been contributing to the course.
No, it's been a great team effort. I think the faculty team effort led by you, of course, but the kind of contribution that made by almost half a dozen really strong, as you said, academic, research, practitioner, faculty combined.
Yes, all combined,
right? That's been very powerful.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. So let's start with some questions here that seem to have come up. We'll come back to other discussions as we go along. So people have asked about a question around prereq. Like I see a question from someone called Shashidhar who says that, is there a base knowledge that you expect from people as they come in? And that's the classic question. And what do I need to know before I start? Or is it something that people can come in on the basis that they have been working professionals and that's good enough?
See, I think if the as a practitioner, if you ask me what is the prerequisite, I'll say strong common sense is where I start with.
Strong common sense.
Strong common sense and open mind to ideas. Very different type of thinking from the traditional way of looking at the design. So, but the question I think is typically people expect this answer of the math prerequisite. I say there are two prerequisites. One is math, one is programming. So math prerequisite, I'm not much worried, really speaking. So for a course like this, which is little bit more of conceptual and practice oriented than the analytical rigor oriented in a academic setting. So we require more of programming expertise, and that any programming language will do. Python is preferred.
Yeah, but
Python is what we are going to use. But if you have been writing program in C or Java or whatever program, adapting to Python is not very complex.
So decent math background and
reasonable math. So most of us have that level of math. We may not be using it. Yes, good understanding of linear algebra, matrix, vector, multiplications, understanding. So that's good enough.
It'll be like a flashback for people, I think.
Yes, people might have forgotten.
But you can refresh.
Yes, you can refresh. A little bit of calculus, but not too much.
One of the points you made just a little while ago, which caught my attention, I wanted to go deeper. You know, people, I think, sometimes don't realize, and I want to say this to the participants, I think the shift from traditional programming, that, you know, our conventional procedural programming, to now machine learning based algorithms, I think people think it's a skill set issue that they're trying to acquire. I think it's a mindset issue. I think the mindset issue is more difficult to overcome.
Yes.
Because here we are talking about, and we used to have a writing programs, code being the most important thing and data being secondary. We have gone to a completely different world where the code in some sense creates itself.
Yes.
But the data is where your innovation lies,
yes,
right? How you feed the data, what data you feed, and what way.
So I think it's fully agree. So sometimes people look at this as, is it yet another technology that I should get in my resume?
Java Next Gen.
Yeah, sorry, that is not this.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah.
So this is a different way of thinking. So I take the simplest example is the sorting. So when you write a sorting algorithm or searching algorithms, you know that, okay, how it works. If it doesn't give you the expected answer, your code is wrong, not the algorithm is wrong. And we all know the algorithms. So while when it comes to machine learning, your success is highly probabilistic. So you have certain error rates. And you need to be comfortable with such a way of thinking. So I see this like in the initial phase of the course, like people ask this question, but it will fail on this case. So there is one case, see, that fails everywhere. Your spam filter also fails. You get a spam in your mailbox, or your important mail goes to a spam filter. So there is always a probabilistic way of looking at the success of an algorithm. This is not natural
to the traditional way of thinking.
Yes. So this is something which, though it is a simple fact, people may say, yes, I understood it. But I think I can see this question coming back every now and then.
Is that the weather forecast today, 80% chance of rain, right?
People make it a fun. Make it a joke. Like, say, oh, this is
But 80% chance of rain has very deep meaning, right?
Yes.
That 8 out of 10 times the forecast is working.
Yes.
Right, Very good. So there is also questions around, people who are saying that things like, what are the projects that are we doing? So could you just explain to people what kind of project / capstone / exercises, if you look at the whole spectrum of things we're offering, what can people expect in that regard?
See, we do a variety of resolutions of projects. So the first resolution is very small projects. For example, you want to build a recommendation system. Or you want to build a spam filter. Or so similar small things which are possibly like a application oriented, but which can be typically done in few hours of time. The next level goes in slightly longer, where we would like sometime to participants to form a team and work on a project which can go for few hours, which includes thinking, which includes some amount of design, which includes doing some amount of new way of trying out various things.
Right.
Sometimes going for a Kaggle style of competitions. And so this is the next layer. The next layer of projects involves more like a hackathon type of a thing, which goes for a day long.
Yeah.
So in the last offering, we did a chatbot, a chatbot was one of the hackathons. Another one was more closer to autonomous navigation. Yeah, it was on a small toy, not on a public road.
Real car, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's another some questions around people who have. Okay, this is the classic question, but I think it's worth repeating. There are AIML courses on Coursera and brought by top universities. Why should we enroll in this course? What's new in this? I think we have to answer this question, but I will just summarize on your behalf that the reason the people that have taken this program have made this point that one thing you learn is AI machine learning is sufficiently complex and sophisticated a topic at this point that you can't really learn this by doing online. The experience of people, in fact, I think 1/4 of people who have been in this program, the first program, 400, have actually done Coursera, have actually done Udacity, or things like that, and they have still enrolled because the conclusion after doing that program, those programs, has been that we have learned some concepts, but we don't know how to apply them. So this is the same example. I've learned the concept of swimming, but I can't apply them to actual swimming.
Don't force me to get into water.
Yeah, because you haven't gone into the pool yet. So I think the short answer to the question is always going to be that, that there is never going to be a way to learn some complex topics without a certain amount of hands-on component to it. So yes, the format of the program is hybrid. There are master lectures in person, there are hands-on labs in person, there are recorded content that you can access online, there are hackathons, there are action workshops. So there's a whole range of things. So it's not a pure online program, as we have very clearly said. And we believe that if you really want a pure online program, this program is not for you. I think that's my view. My view is that please don't think this program is going to be a pure online program, because that's not the design intent at all.
Yes.
It is for people who are serious practitioners of AIML. It is not meant to create somebody.
It's not for creating awareness.
Yeah, it's not an awareness program, and it's not a program that will help you to clear a multiple choice exam. It's actually to build systems.
Yes.
Right? So if you want to build an AIML system, this is the right program for you. If it is to clear a test on AIML, not really the intent of this program design at all.
Yeah.
Right? So there's an interesting question that went by around, why are we not teaching R? We're teaching Python, why not R? Do you have any comments on that?
I think the modern machine learning is more centered around Python than R.
Okay, a simple answer.
Yes.
Okay. There's also an interesting question about people from other cities. People are, of course, at this point, the Hyderabad batch is already filled, but the current batch, the Bangalore one, is ongoing, I think more than halfway there. Interesting question that has come up is, if I'm in a different city like Delhi or Mumbai, what is the recommendation? How do I participate?
At this moment, I will suggest you please travel, or you come and stay here. So that's what I think in the last batch, there were a couple of people who were traveling and or even staying here
relocated for 3 months.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a couple from Silicon Valley relocate here for 3 months.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Dasthanas.
Yeah.
Alka and Shivraj.
Very serious, quite senior people.
Very senior people with serious intent. They came and spent 3 months in Hyderabad to attend this program, and they just took a service apartment and they lived here. I was quite impressed with their commitment as such. Now let's move to the piece about what are the expected outcomes. If people are taking this program, what outcomes can we expect, right, in terms of future careers, future options, and so forth. Let me start that on and let you add to it. So one of the things we learned, the feedback I mentioned has been great faculty, great program design, great peer group, but the other one is great outcomes. And I've seen at least 4 outcomes, and some of which we designed as we went along. One set of people that have finished the course have gone back to their own companies and managed to move into more interesting roles that have AI and machine learning in them, right? They've gone from a traditional role in the company and they're transitioning to more, modern ML AI roles in the company, which is obviously a great career move for them. A second set of people have come to us and said that they want to change careers, change companies, and can we help them? And we are actually passing on the list of such people to companies outside. And I think we have lots of companies reaching out to us saying that, can we recruit people from this batch? So we are passing on the database. So we're not offering placement service. I want to be very clear. This is not a placement service linked program, but in the case that you're interested to give your names out to other companies, we're happy to hand over the database with your name in it to that company. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, and I like the clarification. This is not a placement service.
Yeah, right. The third part is that, a lot of relationships and friendships are being formed in these batches through which startups are getting strengthened.
Yes.
Somebody came who's doing a 2-person startup has now found 2 friends to join that. So the startups are getting energy.
I think there are other participants who are working also, talking about we are forming a team and thinking about startup. Yeah.
So there are people who are going to exit the corporate career altogether and go into the startup world. That's outcome number 3, right?
Yes.
And outcome 4, which is probably the most unexpected, but we are very happy about it, is that a small number of people, maybe less than 10, have approached us to say, we want to leave corporate careers and go into academia, and we want to pursue careers as professors. And these people have been given a joint appointment by IIIT Hyderabad doing masters, doing a masters by research, while they're also becoming part of Talentsprint if they want to become mentors for the next set of batches. So it's a joint appointment as a mentor as well as a researcher in training, right? Doing your next degree. So the beautiful thing is that the number of outcomes is almost unlimited. You can go into startups from here, you can go to new companies from here, you can go back to your own company and do better. Or you can even become a professor in the future. I mean,
I'll be glad, yeah.
But what is your reaction to all these things? I mean, are you surprised by the kind of outcomes?
I think yes. So I did not think of this diversity. I was expecting more of people will do more of machine learning-ish projects and products in their own companies. I should have possibly guessed a little bit of job changes or people may change across, but I did not think of people living and doing this level of startups and other things. Yeah,
that's a surprise.
My limited vision.
But that is a great thing. I mean,
I'm very happy with that. If people are able to do that and strengthen our economy, I'll be glad.
Yeah. And what do you think of the 4th category of people who want to go into?
This was also unexpected. A lot of people contacted. They want to do PhD. They want to do higher studies. I'm not sure how serious they are. I'm not sure whether they can withstand the heat of PhD for many years at this moment. Yeah, at this moment. Because many of them may have jobs, family commitments, a lot of other commitments. I can understand that. Yeah. So given that, at least they were interested. Yeah. And many of them don't know I did masters in so-and-so university and I came back to India, started working here. Now I'm thinking of doing PhD. At that stage, I could not do both because of this reason, that reason. Very valid reason. Their thinking is clear. Yeah.
Right. Very interesting question. I love this question from Sai Tanish, who says, can we write research papers if we have an idea during this course? Will the course support us?
Course will always support. We can't write for you. You should write. You should write.
We can review.
We can review. That level we can review, or we can give your inputs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's excellent. That's excellent. I think we've answered many questions about job assistants that are floating around and all of that. But like I said, there is a 30% category of people who are whose names are on a list of people who are looking for interesting opportunities in the field and whose names are being given. The database is being shared with companies as we speak, and I know that a lot of people have probably been even headhunted through that model already, and I'm sure that will go on for a while. So I want to ask you a question around. In fact, somebody's very happy to see Dr. C.V. Johar in the interactive session. He has a query. Do you teach in this course also statistical analysis and data visualizations?
I don't know what you mean by statistical analysis. We do teach data visualization. I don't know what is statistical analysis.
I mean,
it's a wide topic. We surely use statistics. We surely use analysis. I don't.
But together,
I don't know what. Maybe you meant something. Had something very specific in mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to ask one design question. One of the things that we are hearing when people call us now is that, hey, should we do this kind of a 14-week format, executive format weekends to learn AI machine learning, or should we go for a longer 1-year program to learn AI machine learning? Now, when the program was being designed, we remember we were doing this right through towards the end of last year, October, November, December. We were in the middle of design of the program. We made some conscious choices that this has to be 4 months or less and not 12 months. Could you refresh for people's benefit, what was the logic of making this intense short term versus moderate intensity long term, right?
See, there are two views for this decision. One is this, quote unquote, the attention span of people getting reduced.
Yeah.
So people, for a longer program or longer study, even, not only even like a longer educational program, even for the classroom interaction. So So this requires you to, possibly people want to learn and see immediate benefit. So this old style of like a look, you just learn for 20 years and then you see what happens after that is not enough. So even in the regular class, very often we have to tell them, motivate by telling that, oh, if you learn this concept, this has an application or this has a utility. So this viewpoint is very strong in the society. This possibly is one choice. The second is that, okay, look, in a course like this, it is difficult to keep that intensity and momentum for a working professional for such a long period.
1 year or something.
Yes. Even the last batch, by the end of it, I think people were saying that, look, though we are all enjoying, but it is also because they compromise their personal life, family life, weekends. So this is what we possibly reduced a little bit, made it a little bit more shorter the next batch. But without reducing the number of contact hours. Rather, we increase the number of contact hours slightly. So last time, possibly people were spending just more than a day now over weekend. Now, yes, people are spending 2 days in the weekend, but for a shorter period. So this is also this is the same feedback that we got from the participants also.
No, I think one thing that that I feel, which I totally agree with you, is that, I think intensity is important in learning.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the hybrid model also is intense. It has 5 different ways of learning built into it for a reason, to create intensity, right? That intensity, I think, stretches people more. Like a rubber band, right? The longer you stretch, the harder you stretch, the better it flies, right? It's also like saying that, you have a choice of watching a test cricket match and a T20, right? Where do you think you're going to have the most amount of excitement? Most likely in a shorter and tighter and more aggressive format. So this is the shorter, tighter, aggressive format.
Yes.
Right? We are playing that game. We are not playing the test cricket game.
Yes. So in Bangalore, when I went for the last interaction session, somebody asked this question of, like, is it an intensive course? I thought, sure. Like, why are you doubting? So that, oh, if it is intensive, I don't want to come. Oh, no, don't come. The second is somebody made the comment like, no, this is 3 months is not enough for me. Well, you're welcome to join PhD program.
So I think that's a very good qualifying thing. I want to tell everybody that, take this program if you want intensity. Don't take it if you want more casual. It's not a walk in the park.
Yes.
Right? It is definitely an intense T20 kind of format.
Yes.
Right? And we believe in that.
Yes.
That's the design objective.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm infamous for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing I tell people is that please don't join if you want a pure digital course, an online course, because we are convinced that the learning outcomes will not be there of a similar caliber in a pure online program. So if people want pure online, or if people want longer, moderate intensity format, this is not the course.
This is not the course.
So we should define clearly who it is for.
Yes.
Because somebody who wants to learn really learn fairly quickly.
Yes, not a resume bullet point.
It's not a bullet point of the resume. It's a transformation program.
Yes.
You will be a different person by the time you finish.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. I think that hopefully gives a lot of clarity to people. We're not trying to convince you to ditch MOOCs. We're not trying to convince you to ditch PhDs or 1 year programs, but do it for the right reason.
Yes.
With the right objective.
Yes.
Excellent. So let's keep going. While I think there are a lot of interesting questions that keep coming back. People have asked the question, for example, that Hyderabad batch is already closed. I mean, we opened it and closed within a few weeks, the second batch, right? I think. So what is your view? We are happy with this. We want to keep the Hyderabad batch closed. Some people might want to get in.
Maybe next time. We are also starting Bangalore along with together.
So people can opt for the Bangalore option right now.
Yes.
So that brings a question that people ask, will the faculty be the same across both the Bangalore and Hyderabad format?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So no change in faculty, identical delivery, style, delivery?
There may be minor changes, some lecture maybe here and there, maybe 2 different faculty members, but mostly the same team. The same team is same.
The team is the same,
yes.
They will allocate
because of convenience, maybe
and
some
logistics.
there may be minor changes, but mostly the same.
Right. Very good. So let's keep going. I think I just want to see some, I think questions about Hyderabad versus Bangalore have now been answered. Hyderabad is closed, Bangalore is still open, etc., etc. I'm just flipping through some questions here to see that is there anything that we have missed. I think mostly pretty questions. Yeah, actually somebody asked the question, Dilip asked the question that, do you think if I want to do a PhD subsequently, will you support us from IIIT? Answer is, I think, obviously yes.
Yes.
The problem will not be IIIT, problem may be your own constraints.
So IIIT PhD program is also intensive.
Yeah.
So we would welcome you to join as a full-time PhD program student after.
Today's theme seems to be intensity. everything we're saying is going to be intense in that sense.
Yeah.
Very good. So let me just...
No, I'm just clarifying because sometimes people think that okay, PhD I can do peacefully, like I said. It's not a degree you learn. You get immersed into an area.
Yeah. So how many people are doing PhDs under you right now in your lab?
A dozen.
1 dozen? Okay. Is this in the computer vision lab or is it...
Machine learning and computer vision.
Okay. Very good. So let's keep going. Meanwhile, I think we have a bit of time left, and in that, I want to keep your questions flying. I think I'm seeing a lot of good questions coming, etc. In fact, one question that I want to address that Anshuman has asked is that if I'm already a practicing ML professional, right, what value can I expect from this course? Are there enough advanced topics for me?
I don't know what do you mean by practicing ML professional at this moment.
So what are the advanced topics in your view in the program?
So we do good amount of maybe close to 45% of the content is centered around deep learning.
40% on deep learning?
Yeah, around that, I should say. So which is possibly...
But in the first batch, what was your experience? I mean, I got a feeling that deep learning is the time when people started to feel a little bit of even more pressure of the program became higher because...
There are two things. Say, first, when we started in the initial weeks, there was a set of people who were struggling a little bit with Python. So it got settled down. Then we moved to PyTorch or a deep learning library.
Yeah.
We picked PyTorch. We had option of TensorFlow versus PyTorch.
Right.
We picked PyTorch because the Python continuity was thought of easier.
Yeah.
And possibly there again, there was one more job. So those two jobs, possibly.
Right. Let me ask you a broader question going forward. And this is more to do with the overall landscape. We have done some research. This is for your benefit and the audience. We've done some research to show that the number of people in the world, right, who have serious AI machine learning experience may be less than 500,000 or less than 5 lakh people. And India has about 30,000 people, right, today, who may have an AI machine learning related capability, which is actually a very small number. And if you look at 30,000 people, IIML professionals in India, divided by the total number of IT professionals, which is 3 million, only 1% of the current industry today in India, the IT workforce, has any AML expertise, capability, etc. This program, obviously, we have said now that we will try to cover 10,000 people in the next 3 years, which is probably making it by far the biggest program in the country in the space, if that happens, when that happens. What is your view? I mean, what do you think this macro picture is looking like? Because worldwide, everything is moving to AI machine learning, projects, products, everything. And we, as a workforce, seem to be very far behind in terms of our readiness. How do you look at this? I mean, will people be able to transform in sufficiently fast to take advantage of the opportunity, or do you think a lot of people will just struggle and the old school technology, like we'll become the kobolds of tomorrow, right, in some sense, doing what we are doing? What is your sense of, based on this first batch, for example, do you think the people have that, desire and ability to make the switch required?
I think if you ask me if people have the desire and ability, my answer is yes. So I generally, when this question come about mathematical ability, my usual response is, I don't doubt your mathematical ability. Our mathematical training from the school is reasonably good for this purpose. It may not be super special. We are not possibly trained to become original mathematicians. We are not possibly trained to do heavy mathematical research. But our math basics are quite sound.
Mathematics is quite decent, yeah.
Quite sound. So because all the quote-unquote competitive entrance exams at the plus 2 level, like I think most of the engineers are quite good at math, what is required. And generally, we are all quite comfortable in thinking mathematically. Unlike, so if you look at the textbooks in US versus textbooks in India, people can very fast say that, look, let M be a M by N matrix and do this, they can write it. But in the US, you have to write like there are this many items, this story, there's a story gets built a lot, and then the math comes much later. So generally, we are all quite comfortable with that level of thinking. Numbers, so which is a good sign for the machine learning way of thinking. Except that our probabilistic way of thinking is possibly not as solid. This is possibly where we need a little bit of mental change. Otherwise, our motivation, at least the response that we are seeing nowadays, is very, very good. And the ability, I'm not doubting. As a community, as an education system, preparation level wise, I think we are quite good at that.
So that brings to a very tricky question. I want to ask it, maybe sensitive question to ask, but I want to ask it anyway. That I totally agree with what you said. That our math training up to class 10, class 12, even in engineering, usually we're a mathematically oriented.
Engineering, not so sure.
Yeah, but up to class.
So
12.
engineering in many schools, like at least I see a lot of students who come back and say that, okay, look, I never thought math is important when I was doing by BTech.
I see.
The people take this as a necessary evil to get my degree out.
Yeah. But they don't learn.
They don't focus.
So I guess my question was specifically to the fact that is the way the Indian IT industry has evolved in the last 20 years, has it actually made us weaker in math subsequently, because we've gotten used to a project management culture rather than a technology innovation culture?
I don't know whether the IT industry has made our math weak, but I think that in general, this guaranteed IT job possibly has reduced the intensity or the focus of the student on the education when they are in BTech or in the universities. Which of course has possibly primary hit has been on math. People say, I just need to know programming to get a job. And I'm joining a BTech, whatever, whether it is the computer science to mechanical to mining, whatever it is, I'm here only for an I need to learn only Java or programming for getting a job. This viewpoint has possibly affected a little bit. But from a machine learning point of view, we are not really building on top of that at this moment. Indeed, if you want to go deep into, say, machine learning, machine learning systems, you need to know enough for computer systems. That level of knowledge is also equally important. But I think we can still get it.
No, I just wonder because, if you look at the China experiment, right? I mean, China's AI machine learning prowess seems to be now considered to be much higher than India.
They did more in a planned manner. It's a government backing, and it's more like a mission. While here we are more like a democratic setting, people, different players, different attempts, not really coordinated large-scale attempts.
True. Okay, so one of the things that some interesting questions. There's some engineering students here. Actually, one thing will be interesting to talk about. While we announced the working professional model, we finally took in some extremely good, high-quality freshers in a very small numbers into the program also, right? Do you think in hindsight, taking those really excellent freshers who really wanted to get in, I think the yardstick was that they want to come in and they wrote us nice, strong reasons as to why they want to get in. Do you think AIML is something that young people can learn faster now because they have a chance to do it from the scratch? Or
young people can surely learn faster, but I don't know whether we really want to mix that. So it may be a good idea to have like a few samples of those type of youngsters.
One of the hackathon winning teams was the youngest team, right?
Yes. So that is okay. That's good to have. But generally, the course is pitched at a little bit of working professionals who are in industry for a few years.
So now, in the benefit of experience, would you say the right person is what, 7 to 8 years experience? Is that
slightly lesser than that?
5.
Yeah, 5 maybe.
5
is what I should say.
Yeah, but that was what we thought, and ultimately it became 7 to 8 years experience.
Yes. So last batch, I think we had a slightly more senior set of people.
Yeah. But I think that speaks to the point. I'm sure many of you in the audience have a wide range of experiences, right? So I'm sure people are coming from all kinds of backgrounds. I see questions from people who are just starting their career and people who are obviously been there for a long time. One thing we have noticed, just for the benefit of data, is that the average age of a person who seems to be the median population is 30 to 32 years old. That means 8 to 10 years experience. Even though we have people all the way from 25 at one end to, what, 55?
Yeah.
Yeah,
55 or 60, I don't know, forgot that.
Yes. Okay, good. So the spectrum, so I think the good news in that I would say is that this program is open for anybody who's got a working professional's experience.
Yes.
So if you have working experience, this program is for you.
Yes.
If you want intensity, it's for you. If you want hands-on, all of those experiences, it's for you. So that's the way to look at this in a sense. So there are people from even aerospace engineering, and I think there are use cases in aerospace people.
This was another unexpected thing for me.
Yeah.
So the participant that we had, many of them were not formally trained in computer science.
Yeah. That's that of programming. That
they did aerospace, they did mechanical, then they moved to an IT job. So it took possibly like making a passing remark, oh, this is a greedy algorithm, etc. Then I realized, no, don't want to make a passing remark like that, assuming that, okay, they are formally trained in more computer science. Yeah.
Even garbage collection is a difficult thing to say in that situation. Not just greedy algorithm, but even garbage collection will confuse people.
That possibly people may know. I hope so.
Very good. So how many domains do you think, I mean, in all the domains we have seen in the participants, what are the domains from which you have seen in the first batch? What industries?
Finance.
Finance, okay.
A lot of service sector.
Expected,
Yeah. Then, I don't know, I don't have the
Healthcare.
Healthcare, a lot of people. Yes, healthcare related things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Very good. So one question that I was expecting, and now it has come from someone like Kumar, is that will you introduce credits for this program, and will these credits eventually count towards higher education in Masters and PhD? I'm sure this is a question that you love and you've heard many times.
We are positively considering that.
So what will that mean? That this program, if you do, it will give you the credits required to skip one semester?
No, one course or something like that. So the question is about like...
so if I do a master's...
If you later on join, so this is the way we are now looking at some of these programs at IIIT is that, look, you can consider, when you join a formal degree at IIIT Hyderabad, think of this credit get transferred. So it's a credit transfer across universities. So see, since it is from your left hand to the right hand,
no,
it's much easier.
What equivalence, I guess the question would be how much equivalence will we get? The 6 credits, 9 credits, 1/3 or 1/10 of the number of credits of masters?
No more. So our course requirements are slightly higher than many other universities.
So how many credits to get a master's?
So masters is 24 credits.
Okay, and this would be equivalent
so there are 6 courses. 6 courses. So this will be one course surely.
So therefore, maybe 4 to 6 credits, maybe.
Yes.
So maybe that's 1/6 of your...
So I think effort-wise, I'll surely say this is worth 6 credit or more.
Sounds like it to me.
But then the style is a little bit more of applied nature from an academic viewpoint.
You can't.
That's all. Yeah.
So I think what Professor Jawahar has just summarized for us is that the thinking is that in a 24 credit master's program, you are going to get the equivalent between 4 to 6 credits at the outer limit. So something between 1/6 to 1/4 of your masters will get done in advance if you do this program. And that I think is pretty attractive for people. That's effort-wise. The amount of time you save is quite significant, right? Yeah, excellent. Great. So people have asked a few questions about the practicals and so forth also. The lab designs. You want to say anything about the lab designs? What people can expect?
So labs are done over cloud or over browser. That is how most of the modern...
but they come into a place to do it though.
Yeah. So people come and do.
Not home.
Not. We wish you physically come and do. So that is where you learn. It is not that, okay, you learn by just doing yourself at home. You learn a lot when you see what others do, when you discuss why this trend is happening, why this parameter is set like this, why this specific algorithm needs to be used for solving problem. So this is the labs are, say we have 10, 12 hours of lab or weekend, or maybe that's the average number that you're going to get.
On a typical weekend.
Yeah. So it's a good amount of hands-on component.
Yeah, absolutely. True. So now if you look at it from the perspective of, just summarize the whole thing in the benefit of this course, we have now, I think, seen the first batch graduate. The second batch is now, I would say 80% already enrolled, 20% more to go in the next few weeks before we start. One of the things that people have asked is, what are the future batches planned, right? Would you like to kind of share your view of like what we are thinking in the next 3 years, how to kind of roll out batches, how many batches per year we plan, locations and so forth?
Difficult to commit fully at this stage. So we are, so in the last batch, last time we conducted only in Hyderabad and we had 2 batches running at the same time. So this time we decided to have 1 batch in Bangalore and 1 batch in Hyderabad running parallelly. We are also now trying to see how do we scale across cities. So we are hoping we will scale beyond this after this batch, maybe to multiple cities, maybe to newer models where still we would like to emphasize on the contact aspect as well as the mentored, monitored labs and associated events.
Yeah.
So I don't think we want to commit at this moment which city, when we are going to start, etc.
I think, yeah, so absolutely. So I think it's going to evolve a little bit. I think the general broad plan I can share to say that this year we are planning, one batch every quarter across Bangalore and Hyderabad. So I think we'll get about maybe 1,600 to 2,000 people this year across Hyderabad and Bangalore. Next year, that number should go to more like 3,000 to 4,000. And the year after, 2020, we should plan for about 5,000. So by the end of 2021, I think we are planning for about 10,000 people across the country. And at that point, we think we have done our job, right?
Yes.
10,000 is about what we think is the right number for this kind of intense program. There will obviously be a universe of MOOCs out there which will cater to a lot more people who are looking for less serious learning. That will continue to happen. The outer circles, I call them. The inner circle, we are the inner circle program.
Yes.
And inner circle program, if you want to be a master and expert, this is the program for you. And this program, like we said, is going to be offered to 10,000 people in the next 3 years. And we have just finished the first 400, and the next 400 are just about to get started in this cycle. So that's in a sense is this particular program. And those of you who want to know more, you can go to our website. The program is well documented, well listed. There's also a lot of good scholarships available for especially women professionals and very young professionals, less than 3 years experience, because we believe both as IIIT and Talentsprint, we have very strong commitment to young professionals and very strong commitment to working women professionals and returning women professionals who are coming back from a career break. So for that purpose, we agreed to incentivize this whole community of young and women as well by giving a special scholarship for them. So please apply for the scholarships if you are eligible. I'm sure if you are, that will be something that would benefit you in terms of getting more value from the program. And think of this, like we said, as a very intense program for serious professionals who want to really learn how to build systems in AI machine learning. This is not to pass a multiple choice question test in AI/ML. It's not to clear an interview alone. It's actually to be an outstanding professional who makes a great impact. If you're looking only for digital, this may not be the one. This is for people who want a hybrid experience with high touch, with masters and experts, and all kinds of interesting formats that go with it. And like I said, the outcomes have been very good so far. Like I said, the first batch, we have a set of people who are going back to their companies, getting better assignments, going out of their companies, getting better offers in AI/ML in other companies, doing startups, joining startups, and third and finally, considering a switch to academic careers for a PhD and beyond. So in all possible ways, there are so many outcomes here that are very exciting for you. People looking for serious role change, looking for serious upgrading their careers, getting future-proofed. And that's in the sense how the industry is moving. As I said before, 75% of the world projects are moving to AI machine learning, and only 1% of Indian IT workforce today has the relevant skills required to be in those projects. So clearly the headroom is huge and the opportunity is huge. And I'm sure all of you would benefit greatly by joining the program, if you're joining for the right reasons, with the right preparation, mental preparation to succeed. Anything else you would like to add, Professor Jawahar?
Yeah, that's all. It's a nice summary.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so thanks a lot, guys, and I hope this was beneficial to you. Please keep posting questions. Our team is available to answer them on your YouTube chat for the next 1 or 2 hours, and I'm sure we are always reachable to you. We are a very serious organizational effort from both sides here to build something very valuable. Please take advantage of it, and thank you very much once again for sharing your precious time with us on a Saturday morning. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.